High vibrations, sweet babies. It is a beautiful, beautiful morning here in Connecticut where I'm located, and it's like the perfect temperature. It's just so nice. The air is still, the sky is so blue. I just wanted to share that with you. Let's drop into space in your present moment, no matter what the weather's looking like. Let's take a nice deep breath in and out. Some things that you may hear in this reading: there's birds chirping, there's summer cicadas out in the tree line behind my family's home. I have laundry going. I'm about to leave on a trip for Louisiana, doing some photo shoot work out there with my team, and it is going to be a lot of new experiences. I don't think I'm going to be channeling, reading. I'm always reading, but I don't think I'm going to really be speaking on what I'm pulling and what I'm channeling into, what I'm reading into. I feel as though, you may also hear my buddy boy. He occasionally likes to chime in on my readings. You may hear his tail wagging, his barking, his whimpering throughout some of my videos. And at this point, I think we're kind of just doing this together. I don't know if I would want to do my readings without my little puppy boy somehow chiming in. But anyway, he's very relaxed, very, very relaxed out on the porch right now, so I don't know if we'll hear from him. I'm getting this indication that there's a lot of learning or teaching being done. The number 3, or specifically 33 or 333, might be showing up for you right now. And this is really to just indicate a time of great education, whether it's you connecting with someone who's going to teach you a lot of things. You're going to learn really powerful things from this moment in your life. You yourself may be understanding how much you have to offer and teach others, and you might even really be ready to step into that role a little bit more authentically, or maybe for the first time. Although I don't think it is the first time. I think you naturally just have a very guiding nature to you, quality to you. Oops, this is not what I meant to open up. Okay. There was a couple things that I had in my notes that I was feeling into recently, and I feel like it's time to share them in this reading in particular. So let's see. Yeah, let's just start pulling cards and kind of see what shows up. Oh my gosh, 33 on the timestamp, and this is recording 33, and guess what just came out? Angel numbers are your confirmation right now. 1111 might be significant, 1212 might be significant, 1010 might be significant, 27 might be significant, 00 might be significant. We collective went through a moment like this. I think it actually might have been another portal back during the spring. I have poured so many readings out since then that I can't tell you which one it is. But if you want to go back and look through my readings, you can absolutely feel free to binge all of them if you'd like to. But I would kind of dose yourself out, if you will, and just pick and choose what feels good and aligned and groovy to you in that very moment. And I would say that all of my readings are timeless. Sometimes I do reference astrological transits or dates, solstice and things of that nature. But the energy, the message, the insights, if they land with you, then you were called to them for a reason, and I trust in that. 444 on the timestamp. Back to what I was saying. In a previous reading, we were going through an ascension. We weren't just walking blindly into the next chapter in our life. And I feel like that's kind of the energy of where you're at right now. And it's almost funny to be like, another chapter? I'm walking again? Like, yes, the journey is the destination with this thing we call life. And I think there's a part of me that was so wanting to slow down and have the intention of being really rooted and grounded and still that I almost forgot that the nature of life is motion, movement, and to be in flow and surrender to that, and to also be in trust. And that's not an easy thing, because sometimes, I know for myself, I got very comfortable with the flow and movement of things when I always wanted things to change. Things in my circumstances I didn't like, I wanted them to change. So I wanted to keep moving forward and keep going in a specific direction, and maybe not even a specific direction, just all over the place. And I was more on board with the feeling of flow and movement then. And then when I found myself feeling grounded and rooted and okay with where I was at, and feeling like I wanted all the things around me to stay all the things around me, the idea of things being in motion, and what that also means is continuous, constant change, that became scary. And you might almost think it's like counterintuitive, right? Like when you're so subject to things always changing, or wanting things in your circumstances to change or whatever, you might like really want to cling to a lot of things, or you might think that someone would want to cling to a lot of things. But it might actually be more so that when you're feeling content and you're feeling really rooted and grounded, that it's a little bit more difficult to fall into that same surrender, safety, and trust in letting things go. The art of letting go might be significant and important for this phase in your life, or you might be preparing for that, because that season is right around the corner. And I think it's very important, 12, for you to be in the present moment, slowing down, enjoying where you're at. Yeah, don't just be distracted by what's going to happen next and where you want to go. Although those are things that are important, it's taking you out of the present moment, and it might also take you out of your peace. Seven might be significant for you at the moment. Yeah. This is just a really nice, reassuring energy to this reading. That really beautiful, beautiful monarch butterfly is floating through the yard right now. So colorful, vibrant, beautiful, just like you, friend. And there's a lot of things in life that really do bring you joy, and you need to not be distracted from that. You also need to not be distracted from the joy on your journey. Make sure you're not making any mountains out of molehills, or focusing on the obstacles or challenges in your journey. Again, this is taking you out of the present moment. $33 is actually one of the cards that are here. Earth is showing up twice in this reading, which is interesting to me. You're in a co-collaborative dance, first and foremost, with the universe. We've talked about this before, collective, if you've been listening to my readings. It's a dance, which is why we have discernment, free will. Like, we can set intention for things, and then sometimes we need to feel into the dance that we're having. I'm going to use my analogy in just a second of what I mean by this. By knowing when it's time to let the source energy, the divine, the universe, take the lead. And I think you as a collective, us as a collective, we've been learning how to feel that shift and feel when it's time to, let the universe lead the steps. And I've brought up this analogy before where it's like you can think of it as yourself dancing with like a cluster of stars that represents the divine source energy, whatever. You can also think about it as you dancing, and the universe is like the music that you're dancing to. And when the music changes, you know, it's time for you to change your flow, your rhythm, your pace. So however you need to think about it in order to start really recognizing the dance and the fluidity and the motion, the ebbs and the flows of your life. Ebb and flow is wanting to come out of my mouth for a couple of days now. Throat energy might be significant. 11, I already said that. 33 is here. I love to see it. So you may have you've been saying what you want. You've been speaking things into existence, I want to say. The more that you feel like your inner peace, the more you're able to really know what it is that you want for yourself, what things you don't want for yourself, what things you want to align yourself with or have in the future. And if you aren't sure, make sure you don't have too many things distracting you. Something involving an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, might be adding to that distraction. And whatever it is, sorry, that card just flew. Wow, these cards are a little bit tea, if I'm going to be honest. Oh my goodness. Okay, friends. Something's distracting you from what feels really peaceful and harmonious in your body. There's a lot of heart space, solar plexus, sacral root energy. So like the lower chakras, which means like here, in the now, in the physical, in your body, in your identity, in your core. We're talking heart space down. Not what you think, not even what you kind of feel, right? Because we're talking about body felt sensations. That's the feel that we're talking about, not the emoting, the way that we typically confuse feel, right? Often we can kind of understand the way people think based off of the way that they talk. So if you hear somebody who's like, well, I think we should do it like this. Someone else might say, I don't like it that way. I want to do it this way. So I think we should do it this way is someone who thinks based on the thoughts that they're having in their head. Someone who says like, I don't like this first in this first part of their statement might be somebody who's based in their emotions, and they know from their emotions that they're off put by something, right? Or these are just examples. Or you might have someone who's like, I feel like we should do it this way. That might be someone who has a body felt sensation, and like in their gut, they were listening and they didn't like the way that it sounds. I feel like we should do it this way instead. And I've talked about this before in previous readings too, that we all experience and perceive life differently. And some of us have more of an inclination to think in one way and to perceive in another way. And it's fun and interesting to kind of know all those things about yourself. And it helps us also have the awareness of the way other people are perceiving the world. Because if we're having like miscommunications or not seeing eye to eye, it might not even be that the problem itself or the challenge itself is a real issue. It just might be that two people are looking at it from very different standpoints and in very different ways. They might actually agree. So something, Okay. It feels as though, I'm gonna just be quite honest, someone's expecting something. Okay, there's a lot of cards here. So, what you're expecting as far as your joy and what you want for yourself might actually be a little bit different than what shows up. And I think right now it's important to just go with your gut. Don't get caught up in expectations. Trust that whatever is to come is going to be really fruitful and abundant and be beautiful. It might involve changes. You may have to let some things go. But don't let this situation, like I said, there's this energy here of something being a distraction to your joy, to your peace, and to your harmony. Just by the way that you're looking at things and the way that you're focusing on things. Allow your focus to try to shift into something more related to just feeling really lucky, feeling really open-hearted, feeling like you're experiencing a lot of joy. And obviously use caution, discretion, and discernment. But whenever, and I've said this in previous readings as well, so I feel like this is maybe a collective who's been listening before. Whenever anything feels confusing or feels overwhelming or distracts you from your joy, just shift your course, shift yourself back on course, and remember that right now in your experience, you need to be focused on your inner healing. And I say inner healing, but I feel like this could be feeling like rooted, grounded, secure, having what you need in the physical, right? Because we're really thinking about like a lot of the lower chakras, the body felt, earthly plane chakras. Now, of course, there also, there might need to be some changes in order for you to reconnect with that feeling of being really rooted, feeling really grounded, feeling probably abundant in the very material, earthly world. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's actually really important that even if you feel like somebody who's on a spiritual path or you're very sensitive or in tune with the world, that doesn't mean that you are subject to give up the material things in life. We're here on this earthly plane to experience this earthly plane. Do so consciously, but experience it. Don't take away from the value of feeling grounded, rooted, secure, stable, and this could be in so many different ways. You may have some things that do come up on your journey. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Just remember that you're true north. Remember that your main focus is what feels really peaceful, harmonious, brings you into that flow and union with yourself and your life. And again, there is this energy that you might have to let something go, and that's okay. There's a lot of divine guidance in this situation. You're going to have confirmation with those Ascension codes. I don't know if I even ever finished describing that, but there was just a lot of numbers showing up for us in the springtime when we were going through another portal, and it was a lot of very intentional going forward and moving forward in a chapter. And when we were experiencing, that forward momentum, and it almost felt like we went through a timeline shift, we may have experienced something shift for sure through the 8-8 portal. Whatever you want to describe it as is your journey, but I think as collective, we definitely felt some kind of shift, whether it was energetically, mentally, something changed in our physical reality, whatever it was. And there have been a lot of angel numbers, ascension codes, 1111 on the clock as I'm saying this, to confirm that this is, you moving in a different, you're progressing, you're going forward, you're still in movement, you are ascending, you're taking intentional action, and you're also being really divinely guided. Guardian angel spirit card did show up here, and yeah, you've got a lot of divine protection on the other side. 17, you're absolutely on the right journey and on your path. And whenever you start to question or waver on that, just come back to your true north of like, I need to just follow where I feel the most joy and the most peace. There will be for sure an instance of needing to communicate. Interesting. $333. As I said before, you're not crazy. It's real. You might have a conversation with a water sign coming up soon, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, that really yeah. Requires you to, I would say, just almost more than anything, take stock of the things that you're abundant in your life. Like maybe just the nature of the conversation was like a light bulb moment of like, oh my gosh, I have so many beautiful, amazing things going on in my life. Or just something about a conversation with a water sign, maybe Pisces. Yeah. I feel like it's going to affirm something for you. Because, okay, yeah, there are some things that need to be addressed. I do see this in the card. There is an indication for opening up the third space, having a conversation. There's also something around like fear and feeling a little bit afraid about having maybe a difficult, challenging conversation with somebody. Remember that you're divinely guided and divinely led through your entire path and in the situation. And if you need to ask for help, pray on it, absolutely. You may also want to do a cord cutting or some kind of hypnosis for maybe having difficult conversations, letting things go, or something along those lines. It does seem like whatever the situation is just like stirring you up, and it's stirring up the pot for what really I think your intentions are and what you feel in your heart and your core is abundant to you. And you're actually very serious about that. And yeah. Something about that situation and whatever is let go, and I'm just going to say let go and released in whatever way, in whatever shape and form that shows up in your life. It's going to make space for you in the things that it's going to make space for things in the physical, like we were talking about. This is a lot of like earthly energy, and I think it's going to make room for you to find more stability, just material things. And it's really interesting how this is going to show up. But I feel like it's just 444 again, like a balancing of energy of when you express this or have this conversation or whatever, or maybe this is something that has happened recently, and it's still like an unfolding process. I don't know. I feel like the more that you talk on this and the more that you let things out, let things go, you release, there's going to be more room and more space for the abundance that you're really needing to tap into in this time and space, something you're serious about. It's also going to provide more, like, I'm hearing like earthly provisions is kind of the what wants to come through. And I think this is more about like following your truth, but also aligning with your heart space and what truly feels right in your body at this point. So it only makes sense that when you release whatever is distracting you from feeling really safe in your body or at ease in your body, that you're making room for more material things to show up in your experience instead. So that's my reading for you. I hope that this was insightful in some way. I'm gonna go flip over my laundry. That's what I'm up to. But yeah, I really needed this reading as well. I always feel like I gain a new perspective or insight when I'm just reading these symbols and how they're coming through. And I always say, like, these readings are for me as well. I really get so much out of them, and I really appreciate that there's people who might feel like they're getting some kind of, I don't know, guidance or assistance on otherwise sometimes very confusing journeys. And if I'm just giving you even a new way to look at things, that's what I'm grateful for. If I can help lighten your load by just shifting a perspective, that's what I'm here for, and really nothing more. So if you're getting something out of these videos, I really appreciate any support, likes, comments, anything of that nature. And yeah, I'll talk to you very soon.